Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. And in the last video, we discussed about IELTS writing, and I showed you how you can make IELTS introduction, writing introduction in different kinds of ways. However, in this session, I am not going to discuss what you need to do to get 7 plus bands in IELTS writing. Actually, I'm going to discuss some of the mistakes that you can avoid in order to get this kind of score. So if your target is 7 plus bands in IELTS writing, keep watching this video and avoid all the mistakes that I'm going to mention. So now we are going to start, and if we talk about, first of all, the very first thing you end up doing when you are trying to score 7 plus band is using contractions. So most students are not aware of it, and they don't know that they shouldn't be using can't, don't, or any kind of contractions. It could be any kind of contractions, and you are not supposed to use them, because when you use them, you show informality in your task, and it doesn't sound that formal. So that's why you are to avoid them. Okay, so first thing first, never ever use these contractions. You are supposed to use, if it is can, you can use cannot, and similarly if it is do, you are supposed to use do not instead of using can't or don't or won't. So instead of using want, you will be using would not. So that is the first thing that you need to pay attention to. So, and if I talk about the next thing that you need to avoid, is going to be this. And this is actually about using some basic words. So I'll do pay attention to the examiner who will be assessing your task, will pay attention to the kind of words that you'll be using. It doesn't mean that you have to use some very heavy or some very complex word, but at the same time you also need to make sure that if your target is 7 and 7 plus, you avoid using some very basic words such as good, bad, thing, very. And that is for sure that we end up encountering such sentences where we might have to use them again. So you can use some nice vocabulary that can help you score a better one. Okay, so that is the other thing that you need to avoid if your score target is 7 and 7 plus in writing. So the next thing is going to be, do not copy or borrow words from the essay statement while paraphrasing. What does it mean? So when the essay statement comes to you, you end up sometimes getting or using some of the words that are already written in the essay statement, and try to use them while you are paraphrasing the statement. So avoid that. And it is only if your target is this score. And you can see an example that I've done in front of you. So here you can see that, so here, like, we have an increase production of consumer goods, damage natural environment. So we have these words, and we are supposed to not use these words while we are paraphrasing this statement. So this is the work. You can see that, first of all, humans are using natural resources to make their life comfortable. For this, trees are being destroyed and animals are being hurt. So these all words are synonym, you could say, for natural environment. Okay, and then we have talked about to increase. So here increase, we have used it as a verb, but here it has been used as a noun. So it is a nice twist that you can do when you have to repeat a word, that you use the same different form of the same word, and it is a nice way of avoiding repetition. And then you are talking about the manufacturing is going to be production. So consumer goods are commodities. So you can see that you are supposed to not to repeat words from the statement itself. So now let's see the fourth point that you need to avoid. So it's is overgeneralization. So what is overgeneralization? So overgeneralization simply is when you overgeneralize thing, and you think that things are happening on a uh, always the way you are mentioning them. For example, so this is why we use everyone, always, never. So it doesn't mean you can't use everyone. So it means when you use everyone, it means you're saying everything happening the way you are saying. So you, instead of using everyone, for say, you can use like many, quite a few. So you're saying some of the people, it could be some of the situation that you're missing. So it could be anything, but do not use everyone. Similarly, always, if you say that something happens always, it means you're generalizing it. So something cannot happen always. It's just that it may be true for personal things and the personal life, but it might not be true on a very bigger level. Okay. So, for example, I always get bad sleep when I watch a movie or a horror movie at night. So it might be true for a person or two, but it is not true for all the people on this planet. So that's called overgeneralization. So you are supposed to avoid that, and you just need to narrow your situation down and just talk like you can talk about majority of majority of or similarly you can also say maybe a large percentage of something. Okay. So okay, now let's talk about the very last point that you need to avoid, and it is quite common one, but some students are not aware of it, is this. So when you're writing an essay, you need to make sure that you're writing 250 words, and if you write even one word less than this number, you will be losing score for sure. You can write any number of words over this limit, but you cannot go under this limit. So you always need to make sure that when you are writing an essay, you are counting your words while practicing. So these are the 5 mistakes that you are supposed to avoid when your target is 7 and 7 plus in IELTS writing, whether it's academic test or it's a general test. I hope this video was useful to you. Thank you very much. I'll be coming up with another video soon. Thank you.